Hi everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. This is kind of an oddball video. It's a Sunday morning. It's the morning after the Bristol night race, and I just had to make a video about what I saw on my television last night. Absolute insanity. I don't normally do NASCAR videos because on YouTube there are so many guys like Balonenberger and Eric Estep doing great NASCAR recap videos every week. I don't need to compete with them. But anyway, I just need to I just need to talk about this because I've never seen anything like that in my life. It all started out Thursday night with the truck race. I can't say I have too much comment on that because, well, honestly, I slept through most of it. I can't remember what I was doing that day, but I was beat. And then Friday night was the Xfinity race. Kind of took it up another notch. That was their cutoff race for their playoffs. So there was a lot of battling down to the wire. Ended up Gregson won it after he punted Ty Gibbs into Sheldon Creed and took the two of them out. I kind of think that put Creed out of the playoffs. I don't really follow the points in that in the Xfinity. I just watch it for the entertainment value. But anyway, last night, the Cup race. Unbelievable. It was the cutoff race for the first round. The round of 16, it was the cutoff race. So 4 of them weren't going to make it to the next round. And what we saw, unbelievable. Tires blowing, power steering problems, broken suspension parts. 12 of the 16 playoff guys had big time problems. Wrecks, shunts into the fence. And a lot of them actually, because so many of them had problems, despite their problems, a lot of them still made it through. The big losers were Harvick, Kyle Busch, and both Childress cars. Childress got 2 of his cars into the playoffs, both gone in the first round, both because of wrecks. Austin Dillon got tangled up in a wreck started by Suarez. He got squirrely coming off. I think it was the second turn, and they all had a big wreck on the back straightaway. And Dillon got all his left front suspension parts broken. The problem with these new cars is the old cars, the suspension parts were all made out of steel, and they would bend, but the teams would be able to work with it. They could kind of string them and sort of get the wheels pointed the right way and get the car back out and make minimum speed and keep turning laps. Problem is with these new cars, all the suspension parts are, I wouldn't say cast aluminum, they're probably aluminum forgings, but aluminum is not steel. It doesn't bend, it breaks. So when these things get hit, everything breaks, and they actually have to replace all the parts. There's no string in the car and resetting the tow. So Dillon got taken out by that. They tried to fix it on pit road, but they ran out the damaged vehicle policy. Their 10 minutes of repair time expired, and they were gone. Reddick, on the other hand, he was able to get in, and they got the car patched up so that he could make minimum speed to get rid of the clock, and then they kept working on it for the rest of the night. But they never, ever got the car right, and he just couldn't make up enough ground on the track, and he was out on points also. Kyle Busch, he has had in the last 3 weeks 2 blown engines. That did him in. I don't know if because he's the guy leaving. Maybe he's getting some experimental stuff that he doesn't know about. Who remembers the Greg Sachs experimental car at Daytona? That was something. Or Ray Evernham's, what did they call that thing? Godzilla? That one that Jeff Gordon just destroyed the All-Star race with. It's not unheard of in NASCAR for some experimental stuff to get out there. But anyway, at any rate, Busch, that's quite unusual for Gibbs cars to lose engines, and Busch has lost 2 in the last 3 weeks. So that put him out. And then Harvick, Childers called a great race, got him the track position he needed. He was right up front at the end, And when they came in for their last money stop, he left the box and the left rear wheel came off. Or the left front wheel. I don't know. I was half asleep by then. But he lost a wheel. He had to go back into the pit box, get the car jacked up and the wheel put back on. So instead of coming out with the lead or second or third, he came out like 15th. And his night was done. And basically he had to win to advance because of the problems they'd had in the previous two races. He could not, or the previous 3 races, he could not get in on points. So in the end, it was Chris Buescher who won. That got Roush, Fenway, and now Keselowski Racing back into victory lane for the first time in probably a very, very, very long time. Those cars have shown steady improvement throughout the season, and they did it last night. So I think that's got to be a first in the first round of the playoffs. Not one playoff driver scored a win. Pretty amazing. Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, and Chris Buescher. Those are your 3 winners in the first round, and that really messed up a lot of your playoff guys. Blaney, same thing. His car was destroyed, but he kept it. They kept working on it and managed to keep it limping around, and they made it to the end. It was just a strange night. There were so many cars blowing right side tires, mostly right fronts. These guys still do not have a handle on these tires. The old tire with the 15-inch wheel, the tire had such a huge sidewall. The aspect ratio of it was much greater. I'd say, just to pull numbers out of the air, they were probably the equivalent of like a 60 or 65 series tire like you would have on your road car. The new tire, 18-inch wheel, but the height of the tire is still relatively the same. So they, gone comparatively to a 35 or a 40 series tire. What that means is this. The old tire, because it had so much more aspect ratio, so much more sidewall, it was a lot more like a balloon, and it was much more forgiving with the range, the acceptable range of camber that they could run on the right front wheel. And if they found through the race that it was wearing abnormally, that tire was enough of a balloon, we'll say, that they could tweak with the tire pressure a bit, not really have to do physical adjustments to the chassis to get the tire to stay living. Now, with these 18-inch tires, the aspect ratio is so low, the tire just does not have enough give. And their range of camber is so closed up now, and if it's off just a little bit, if they get just a little too aggressive with it, it'll eat the inside edge off the tire, and they will just keep blowing and blowing and blowing and blowing. And at that level of competition, you can't say, look, the acceptable range of camber is, 4.5 degrees. We're going to try running it at 5. You could do that with the old tire. You can't do that at this one. Unfortunately, like I was alluding to, at this level of competition, you have to push every single thing to the absolute limit, or you're not going to be at the front. Some of the smaller teams, maybe, that can't afford to have tires blowing and going into the wall, they will run everything at 99% instead of 101% like the top teams do. That's just how it goes at this level of competition. Another issue I saw and absolutely baffled me. Now, I will say, wait, before I switch gears, on these tires and wheels, I am done with these single lug wheels. They've had all season to try and fix them. Every week, it seems, somebody is getting screwed over by these stupid single lug wheels. And don't get me wrong, there is no going back. They will never go back to 5 lug wheels. That boat has sailed. We're done. We are stuck with this thing. But they better, in the off season, work double hard to try and find a solution, because so many guys lost wheels last night. Who lost the other one? Somebody else lost one on pit road, but they were already 5 or 6 boxes away from their stall when it came off. So that's going to be a big penalty. I think it was it Blaney? And then he did a I can't remember. I think it was Blaney. It was the left rear that came off, and then he did a 180 and skidded the car back on only one back wheel to his box and got it fixed. But these things are a nightmare. As far as them blowing the tires, I don't really think it's anything to do with Goodyear. I think it's to do with the teams just pushing the camber too far. And they will, over time, they're going to learn. They just don't have enough data and enough experience with it. So they'll pick up on that. They'll figure it out. But the wheels, they are stuck with those single lug wheels, and they're going to have to figure out how to make it work. Unbelievable. Well, they wanted drama with these new cars and the playoff format and everything. They got it last night. I've never seen anything like that in my life. On to the steering issues. There were several cars that went out with blown steering racks. As you know, the cars changed from the previous generation car. They were still running out like a Saginaw style or GM style steering box with an idler arm and a pitman arm and a center link and all that stuff like you found on any American car right up through the mid 80s. Now they've gone to a rack and pinion. It's a front steer. The rack and pinion is out at the front because behind the wall they actually changed the rack in Wallace's car, the 45 last night, and sent him back out. But Martin Truex Jr. went out with a blown steering rack. Now here is my thing. NASCAR, are you watching this? What in the clown world are you fools still doing in the year 2022 running power steering systems that have friggin' pressurized oil in them? You've got a pump, a belt, a rack, seals, pistons. Are you people insane? My crappy Ram 1500 pickup that I bought off the lot has an electric rack and pinion in it. No muss, no fuss. 2 wires go to it. You got power steering. I cannot believe they're messing with crap like this in the year 2022. Every cheap Asian econo box that you buy now has electric power steering. Guys are going to the junkyard and pulling the steering columns out of Nissan Sentras and putting them in their street rods. My friggin' mini stock, for crying out loud, has electric power steering in it. And NASCAR is still messing around with pumps and oil. Come on, guys. That's something you need to update in the off season. Just call up Chrysler and ask them how much for 5,000 Ram 1500 steering racks and give them to everybody and let them use those. I don't know. I don't get it. That is one bizarre thing about this new car. With all the new high-tech technology and stuff in it, they're still relying on a rack from a 1975 Pinto. I don't get it. I digress. Anyway, that's it. That's it for my my NASCAR video. I have never had such a blast watching a race. The Bristol night race delivered. There was a lot of broken hearts and just a lot of strange, bizarre occurrences that I never thought I would ever see. That was like the Twilight Zone on wheels. Anyway, like I said before, NASCAR wanted drama and entertainment. They got it. I'm still not sure I'm a fan of this playoff stuff and these new cars and all that blah, 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 blah. But anyway, as far as entertainment value, everybody got maximum bang for their buck last night. Let's see what happens in round 2. See if any of these playoff guys can ever actually win a race before the end of the season. I don't know. Anyway, that'll do it for this. I got to get to work, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in to the Claremont Classic Garage. This is Kevin checking out. So long for now.